Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, and other role players. Tune in every week for our latest episode. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Welcome to About the Winelands. This morning I'm speaking to Heidi Dietstein from Spier Wine Farm in Stellenbosch. Heidi is the winemaker there. Good morning and welcome to About the Winelands, Heidi.
Morning, Will. Thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking some of your valuable time to come talk to us. I think our listeners will find it interesting. You know, Spier is a very well-known wine farm, but it would still be nice to hear what you guys are doing. But before we start with that, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself and what you are doing at Spier and your history in the winelands?
Okay, I grew up on a wine and apricot farm in Bonnievale, which is a small town in the Platteland. And I just have a appreciation for nature and the countryside. My career took off when I started studying at Elsenburg in cellar management and viticulture. And thereafter, I went to do internships in winemaking in Marlborough in New Zealand and also in Sonoma Valley in California. And I've been working in the wine industry for the last 13 years, making wine at Spier for the last 5 years. And in between the last 5 years, I've done a vintage in Champagne in France, where I stayed in a small village called Bouzy. So I've also done a vintage in Champagne, learning more about how to make good Cap Classiques in South Africa.
Oh, that's very interesting. So it's quite interesting the weather difference between Champagne and a place like Stellenbosch is quite significant in terms of, I think, especially the summer weather, the heat. And then, of course, over there it's much colder in winter. Is that a issue in making MCC?
So MCC or Cap Classique grapes ripen early, or we pick it earlier in the season. Usually we start the vintage middle of January here in Stellenbosch. And it's very important for the grapes to be picked at the right time. And in Champagne, it's always a bit cooler than in Stellenbosch. Mm-hmm. So it definitely plays a big role, the terroir and so on.
Oh, very interesting. So tell us a bit about, Spier and the history of the estate. It's one of the oldest wine estates in the country, and I think our listeners would be interested to hear a bit more about Spier.
That's true. Well, we are one of the oldest wine farms in South Africa, going since 1692, with a fascinating history and legacy that the owners don't take for granted. Spier focuses on art, good farming, farm-to-table food, and exceptionally good quality wines. That is our big focus. And also people. We have a love for people in the community and also our environment.
And the current ownership of Spier, how long have they been the owners of the farm?
It's been many years now. I'm not quite sure, but it's the Eindhoven's or the owners of Spier.
Yeah, I think they invested quite a lot of money and developed the farm a lot from, where it was years ago, and it's one of the premier, I think, wine, if I can call it, wine tourism destinations in Stellenbosch. Can you give us a little bit more details of, if a visitor comes to Spier, what are the things they can experience there?
So we have a deli, and we have some restaurants and artworks, and we have a hotel, a leisure department, and also a spa at the hotel. So what you'll be experiencing is good quality food and wine, but also a lot of fresh produce from the farm. Farmer Angus makes some really good meat or yes, salami, different options like biltong, and yeah, you can experience fresh from farm produce, also some great wines, and in between you can walk around between the garden and have a look at our artworks.
So if you come to Spier, you can definitely make a day of it. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I did the wines. Can you tell us a little bit more about the wines you are making and also your own winemaking philosophy?
Okay, so I make the signature Classique at Spier. And then I also make a vintage champagne, which will be done only in a very good and outstanding vintage. The last one I produced was a 2009, which is a little bit older, but was kept on the wine list for about 103 months. So it's more like a limited edition. It's a wine that has matured in the bottle for some time. So you can expect a little bit more secondary fermentation development in the bottle. And yeah, my philosophy, I think it would be, I believe good wine starts in the vineyards. So I would say to capture those flavors of the grapes that nature gave us and to make the best of it.
Yeah, I think that is wonderful. Just a question on the 2009 vintage. If you buy that, that you've started bottling it, so that's available for sale now. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
So if you buy the 2009, how long do you actually have to drink it, or should you drink it immediately?
I think, it will be ready to drink now because now in or in the next year, because it's a 2009 that's been degorged about a year ago. So the wine is, it doesn't have any dosage, zero dosage at bottling. So I would say it's ready to drink at this moment or in the next year.
Okay, well, that's quite interesting. And we've got Cap Classique Day coming up on the 1st of September, which is basically a celebration of, the MCCs in Cape Town. And Spier is a member of the Cap Classique Association. Do you guys have anything special planned for the first?
I will definitely be opening up a bottle of Cat Classique, maybe to shabrage it. But we don't have any specific plans for the day. On the social media side, we will be posting a bit more of what we have to offer on the farm in this range.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you have a special sword for this occasion?
A special?
Sword to open the
Yes,
bottle with?
yes, yes. Yeah,
You do?
yeah. You get a particular sabrage, like a sword, yeah, that you use, which is really nice.
Interesting. You really need to, when you open that bottle, do the post on social media. We're going to be looking out for it.
Okay.
So, another thing that's happened lately is obviously, and the big thing is the coronavirus and the alcohol ban and everything that went with that. And it's really forced everyone to rethink their business models. Um, is there any changes or anything that you guys have in mind or new things that are happening?
We've made some positive changes early on, especially in our marketing and sales teams, as people were working from home. So the focus was more on online sales. And we've started, like on our website, we have an option called Stock Your Cellar, where you can select different wines, and it's just so easy to order wine online. And then we have an option where you can also order food, fresh food from the farm, and it will be delivered to your door. So definitely more focused on online shopping and deliveries to your door.
So with this online shopping and delivery to your door focus, um, it changes things a little bit because now you know exactly who's buying your wine. Whereas previously, if you only sell in restaurants or sell through agents, you don't really know who the end consumer is. So I think, am I right if I'm saying is that um, communication with that end consumer becomes um, more important with what's happening?
What we've picked up, is the type of market that is interested in our wines, and also on local sales, we've seen, some people are trying Spier wines for the first time, which is exciting for us, and also which wines, certain people prefer. So it does help us to know, where who's buying our products.
You mentioned social media. How important are the social media channels in your marketing with this whole direct to consumer drive?
It's very important. We post more often on Facebook. It's hard to do sales on Instagram, but we all are also active on Instagram. So yeah, it really, really, really helps us.
Okay, so you guys have a specific a way to produce content, or are you just how do you do that?
I actually, that is not my strong point, so I can't be saying
L-
exactly what the marketing and sales team's always up to.
Do they come
But we have,
and do videos of you in the vineyards and in the winery and stuff like that, or?
we do that, but we actually, what we are selling at Spier is a lifestyle, a way of life,
Mm-hmm.
rather than be focusing on one person.
Okay.
So yeah.
So that's interesting. I think that is almost like a new concept in the winelands of this whole idea of life, almost if I can call it lifestyle tourism, right? Because most
Mm-mm.
like big estates like Spier are selling so many things. You're not just selling wine, right? You're selling a whole complete package experience, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. Your wine journey has been quite interesting. And what have you learned from making wine at Spier, and also your whole your whole wine journey in total? What is the most important thing that you've learned?
You know, um, I would say just to keep the passion. I'm a very passionate person, and especially during the vintage, it's hard work making wine, and you work long hours. So it's just remember that you're doing what you love, and winemaking is an art which is best created with passion. So at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
Oh, that's wonderful if you can do something that you love and have a passion for. So, Heidi, I ask everybody to give me their own wine quote, but in today I'm going to press you for an MCC. You'd have to give us an MCC quote, because it's MCC day, right?
Yes, so Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much champagne is just right.
That sounds wonderful. Is that your
Yeah, I
personal
think
philosophy as well?
it, yeah, it's very close. It really sums me up as a person as well.
Wow, amazing. So, if people want to get hold of you guys and or want to order some of your MCC or your wine online, how do they get hold of Spear?
It's so easy. When you go online, immediately there's an option where you can choose your wines, and yeah, it's really easy access to buy wine online these days. So yeah, just log into spier.co.za, and yeah, you can order wine online easily.
Okay, awesome. And like you said, you've got this new, what did you say, wine cellar that you guys call it, which sounds like it's a bit more than just a shop, right?
You can order food. You can have a look at the whole range. There are certain packages of a selection of wines.
Okay.
Like you get an option with, if you like Chenin Blanc, you have options where you can choose different types of Chenin Blancs that Spier makes. And then we have some different ranges you can also have a look at with different price points. And it's really interesting. Yeah.
I did just on the last thing about the MCC, is there anything new that's coming out or that we need to be aware of that's happening?
Well, at this moment, our Cap Classique is a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And In the next year or two, we will be making a brut rosé as well. And also like a reserve, a boutique Cap Classique, which will be aged on the fine lees for a little bit longer, more close to 4 or 5 years. So
Wow.
there are new exciting products coming up. Also a limited edition by the end of this year. It will also be a vintage Cap Classique. So there are some exciting things happening at Spier with the Cap Classique range.
Okay, that's very interesting. Heidi, thank you so much for spending the time with us, and we're looking forward to seeing more of your wines. I think Spier Wines is available almost anywhere, but if people want to get it, like you said, they can jump online. We'll leave all the links in the description below. And yeah, thank you for spending the time with us.
Okay, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much, Will.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.